Hello, everybody. God told me to speak on something today. I've been, I've had a lot of stuff happen in my life. I was molested when I was a kid, and it really messed me up in life when I told someone because they said, "Hey, you're gay," and that made me, because I was trying to protect my sister, told him to rape me instead. And I knew I was protecting my sister, but from doing that, right then, I let all kinds of demons inside of me, to where I didn't believe in myself at all. I was always in low confidence and always lost. And I wouldn't change it for a day. I got the blessing of getting locked up at 10 years old, and I was transferred all over Texas and met a lot of people. Knew that I wasn't the only one who was lost, but it showed that everyone needs help, and I still was just blaming God for all the stupid stuff I was doing. I was getting angry and insulting people, and I was the reason I just kept getting locked up. Well, I finally got put down at the border, McAllen, Texas, and I got introduced to, it was called the Family Church, and my big brother, still love him, Ronnie Lagoria, he asked me one day, he said, "Who are you?" And I had lied most of my life to fit in, was worried always about what others thought, never told the truth about myself. So I always was lying, and when he said that, I was like, "What are you talking about?" But he said, "Who are you?" And I asked myself right then, "Who am I?" But I had lied for so long, I truly didn't know who I was. And I told him, I said, "I don't know." And he told me, he said, "You know what? Write every lie you ever told on Facebook, and then tell who you truly are." And I did, and there was a big weight lifted off my shoulder. I could already feel the Spirit coming back into me, and I started getting back involved with God, into the church. I love the feeling of uh, helping anyone I could. They inspired me. Ronnie was who I wanted to be like when I was young. A pastor full of the spirit of joy and everything. And God told me, he said, "Don't go back home," because I was in CPS too and everything. Well, I didn't listen. I hadn't seen my family in so long that I was like, "Man, I'm going back home." Well, I went back home, and I got, it was kind of like I backslid for a long time. Don't get me wrong, I loved being with my family and everything, my mom, everything, bless her, she's in heaven with God right now. But I, I started living a lie again, because when I first got back, I didn't want to do none of these drugs or anything, but I saw nobody was really just talking about God or anything. So all my friends, my old friends from when I was a kid, uh, smoking weed and stuff. So that's where I started on, was that, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't bad." Well, truly the gateway. That's my point of view, because I started there, and then I led up to harder and harder drugs. And once my mom died, I didn't. I truly got on crack and everything, because I didn't care if I lived or died. I was lost for like 4 years. Turned real skinny, and it went by fast. And then finally, December 2018, I woke up and it's covered in snow, and I'm like, "Oh man, this ain't the life I want. I need help." Called the hospital that did suicide and stuff, and last year, 2019, I did suicide 15 times, and each time was dead. The hospital told me this last time. They're like, God must love you. You're still alive. And before I had came back from that last suicide, I was introduced to. I got to see the. It's like I got brought up to heaven. I saw the heavens gates and everything. Saw the man with a man with a white robe, white hair, but his face was so shiny I couldn't see it. And I was like all happy, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to heaven, you know. And he said, you have chose the world over me. You're going to hell. And it was like the roller coaster feeling, you know, where your stomach's. I just dropped into darkness, and I burnt in hell for about 3 hours, screaming, Lord, please give me another chance. Help me, help me. And the people in the hospital said, yeah, you were in a coma screaming. We can hear you moaning for 3 hours. But when I came out, I was just apologizing to God. But when that lady had said, God must love you, gave you another chance each time, I finally asked God, I said, why am I still alive? And that was the first time I truly heard his voice. He said, don't you think if I wanted you dead, you'd be dead by now? He says, you're a wonderful gift. He says, you love helping others. He says, but have you ever helped yourself? He says, to truly get close to me, you must help yourself first. And he says, you got to put me first. I know every mistake and sin you'd make before you made it, and I forgave you for it. And you just got to believe that you can overcome it. Well, I started getting right back close to God, was full of joy, waiting for disability. I ended up getting denied last year at around, I think it was November or so. Well, when that happened, I relapsed, started doing drugs again, but I thank God that it opened, that last time opened something inside of me that when I got high, I could see all the destruction that had came before, and he started showing me I started seeing the other people who I was doing drugs with, these old people. They're wonderful, wonderful people, man. But they just destroyed their life with the drugs, and it would make me so sad. And God would tell me, that's you, if you choose to stay following the world. And I was like, no, I don't want that. He says, you got to listen to what I say. He says, it takes patience. He says, it's never going to happen on your timeline. It happens when I'm ready. And I never understood that for a long time. But then I gave up them drugs again for a good two months or so. And God had blessed me with this hut. I got blessed with an apartment, was no longer homeless. Well, I get back in this apartment, I start messing up again, doing drugs, but I stopped again, and then I did it again, and then I was introduced to this wonderful church, man. They were the ones bringing me food, called Cornerstone. They were a band, and right then God told me, he said, whatever they tell you to do. And they asked me, hey, do you want to go to church? I said yes. And then they asked, did I want to volunteer? I said yes. And I could feel the Spirit jumping right back up into me. But I'd always get discouraged because I'd see them, how strong in spirit they were. But I'd feel, am I not faithful enough? Am I not good enough? I'd lose faith in myself, and I relapsed again this last time. And I believe and declare in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ that it will be the last time. But when I relapsed, I had been awake for 3 or 4 days. And see, a lot of people don't understand, but for me, when I did them hard drugs like crack and all of that, it opens your eyes to a world unseen when you stay awake too long. And I started seeing demons and everything evil. Like I could feel myself that I was going to end up dying and going to hell. So I was trying to call my cousins and everything. But through my phone, the pastor, her name kept popping up, and I'm not calling no pastor. I done did some drugs. I'm not calling no pastor. But none of my family would answer. And so God told me, He said, call the pastor. So I called her. Her name's Lisa Jackson, a wonderful lady. And had a wonderful talk. And it was saying, it pretty much was something God had already told me. I knew every mistake you'd make. But you got to be willing to change from it and do better. And every day's a new day. Don't let the past haunt you. And that's one thing I've learned recently. Also, can't let your past haunt you or look too far ahead, because that's what's going to cause your destruction. You just got to look at today. Look at what you're doing today and see the good you did today. Don't look at where you've messed up or anything, because like the old Bible verse, I'm still getting back to where I know any Bible verses they're exactly where they were, but it says you can't put old wine in new wineskin or it will burst. That's pretty much God telling you you can't do the same old things and expect change. You got to be willing to change for me to help you change, but you also got to keep me first and do whatever I tell you. And it showed me also, our pastor Thomas, he said, he had the song 99.9 ain't enough, you got to give God 100%. And that's what started hitting me that last time I relapsed, because I asked God, what am I struggling with? And He says, you've never given me 100%. He says, you've been hurt so much in your life that you're scared that I will hurt you. But He says, with me, nothing but peace, joy, and happiness will come. He says, there will be struggles that will come to your life, but you can overcome them because you got the power of Christ running through you. And that's when I submitted. I said, Lord, I give you 100%, man. And it's a wonderful feeling. I love just serving God now, and anything He's told me to do, you could feel that little voice. The thing He always says to me is, Shaq, you love me? And right then I'm like, oh no, what do I got to change? What do I got to change? And first thing He said was, change your music. Stop listening to all that rap music. And I started noticing what the music I was listening to was saying. It was saying some bad stuff like, do drugs, get high, it's all about money. It wasn't talking nothing about praise God. And so I changed that. And next thing He was like, you love me, Shaq? Stop watching so much TV and give me more time. You love me, Shaq? Help this person. And it's a wonderful feeling just to talk with God now. And He's like your best friend. Because don't get me wrong, whenever you first give it all to Him, you may feel like you're alone, but you're never alone. You got God, and then He will place people in your life that will help expand your spirit to want to serve Him longer and more. And that's what I want to do, and that's why whatever He's been telling me to do, like, I know that He's the way, the truth, and the light, and I want to help anyone I can, man. That's what He's had my calling for since I was young, and I believe soon enough it will happen. But my calling, I feel, is to be a youth minister. I want to help these young and show them that even if we've been lost, like, show them. That's why I always tell people about the struggles and stuff I went through, being molested and everything, because I can feel when people are down and they feel they're worried about what others will think. Well, God thinks perfectly of you, and yes, you went through that, but it was meant, you went through it to make you stronger, to where when you meet someone that's struggling in that same area, you can be a blessing to them and help them. And that's what I want to do. I want to help all these young before they get too lost. Cause man, he gave me since I've been getting close, he's told me in a couple dreams, man, it's sooner than you think, this rapture. And just that little taste of hell I got for that time, I would not wish that on my worst enemy, man. I would want everybody to come to heaven, and that's why I'm trying to spread the word as best as I can. And anyone anyone can do it. It just takes time, man. And it's not just, you're not just gonna quit doing all the wrong just straight overnight, man. But each step you got to look at that you've done better. You can't look at, well, I'm still making these mistakes. Yeah, you make mistakes. We all make mistakes, but you got to look at, hey, I I overcame this. I'm doing better, and each day you do that. Like how I did it was people, because the temptation is going to come the worst when you're close to God, because that's when Satan's trying to destroy you. He already got all the ones who are lost, man. He doesn't want them. He wants those who are trying to turn their life around and go towards God. So that's when you'll hear people, like if you're addicted to drugs or alcohol, that's when all kinds of people are going to come, hey, I got free drugs, I got free this. But each time I've said no, and it's the best feeling, because it gives me confidence in myself that, hey man, I just said no. I can do anything. And it makes you feel positive and makes you want to help others, and other people take it as that you used to get, that other people I used to do drugs with, man, they take it as I said I'm better than them. I'm not saying I'm better than them. I'm just willing to change, and I just want them to be able to change too, because I don't want them stuck here when this rapture comes, or I just want them to know that all the worry, stress, and pain comes when you try to live it on your own, but you got to be willing to live for God, and we can all do that. And I hope everybody has a blessed night. Thank you for listening to what I just said. Love all y'all. Night.